First Coast News breaking news now.
And that breaking news tonight is out of Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office telling us all officers are okay after an officer-involved shooting on West Beaver Street. That's near Stockton Street, just west of downtown. JSO is asking people to avoid the area. We do have a crew on the way to the scene, and we will keep you updated as we learn more on air and online. And right now we have a weather impact alert in place for the extreme heat across the First Coast, and we're also tracking some storms tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anthony Austin.
And I'm Jeannie Blake. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Lou Turner. And Lou, we are tracking these storms right now with some extreme heat, so it's just that combination we have this week.
Yep, you get both, and you get things like this. So severe thunderstorm warning. We've seen severe thunderstorms through our afternoon. Strong gusty winds, even hail has been reported towards Orange Park. In the meantime, what we're seeing with this storm, goes until 6:15, Alachua. So obviously down towards Gainesville, Bradford, Clay, and Union, though, in the immediate area right now. This line of storms kind of extending really from Lake City, but all the way down towards Keystone now with that severe level of winds. Winds being the primary threat, the frequent lightning, though, making these very dangerous, too, continuing their move more towards the south. We'll continue to watch these storms. We'll talk about the heat through the next 7 days, so stay with us.
And today is Election Day. Florida primary election day is underway as people head to the polls to cast their last-minute votes.
The polls close in just under an hour here on our First Coast, and voters are deciding who they want to serve in several key roles, including governor and U.S. Senate. So we are on your side tonight with some live team coverage across Florida. From Orlando, where gubernatorial candidate Republican Byron Donalds is hosting a watch party.
And right here on the First Coast as well, we have coverage for you tonight. But first, we want to start with our Bilyana Garland. She's actually in Miami Lakes, where the Democratic candidate for governor, David Jolly, is having his watch party for the primary tonight. Bilyana.
Anthony, I'm here with State Senator Tina Polsky, who's also the co-chair of the campaign. So, Senator, what about David Jolly makes him stand out above all the other candidates?
Wait till you hear him speak tonight. He is smart and good and kind and has such a huge heart, but is so smart and has actual policies that are going to make a difference for Floridians. And it's finally time that we make a change in Florida and elect someone who cares about the people and not the politics.
And do you think that his evolving political stance, I mean, he was first a Republican, then he became a staunch critic of President Donald Trump, became an independent, now he's a Democrat. Do you think that could be confusing for some voters?
I don't think so. I think he's explained it beautifully, that he's changed, that he's evolved, and don't we want people to change? I mean, isn't that the point of persuasion, to try to get people to your side? And he says he's a proud Florida Democrat, and the Florida Democrats are so proud to have him represent us and to be our standard bearer for this election.
And last question, what is something that he wants to do that you think would really resonate with voters?
He wants to fix property insurance, which has been ignored by the Republicans for all these years, and they've created this problem and they attempted to fix it and they haven't at all. And for year after year, we've just ignored the problem. He wants to create a state catastrophic fund to lower the cost of property insurance for everyone. And if we just embrace big ideas, we can actually make a difference instead of kowtowing to the insurance industry and actually trying to make a difference.
Thank you so much, Senator. I'm Bilyana Garland, live in Miami Lakes. First Coast News on your side.
Bilyana, thank you. Now we want to go over to the Republican side of the gubernatorial election. Our Sydney Deshawn is on in Orlando tonight. She's at U.S. Representative Byron Donalds' watch party. Sydney.
Anthony, doors opened about an hour ago. We're here in Orlando at a watch party for Congressman Byron Donalds, and the energy is so high. The program does start at 8, but I want to show you guys just what the crowd is looking like right now. People are starting to trickle in, lots of people here. Some background on Donalds. He is the Southwest Florida representative who entered this race with the backing of President Donald Trump. We know his campaign has also been well funded, raising about $90 million so far. But tonight, it all comes down to the votes. If Donalds wins, he'll move on to the general election, that's in November, as the Republican nominee for governor. Now, we will be here all evening, so make sure to stay with us throughout the evening. We'll have reaction from Donalds, as well as different representatives and supporters. But for now, reporting live in Orlando, Sydney Deshawn, First Coast News, on your side.
Thank you, Sydney. And this year, many voters across Duval County have a new place to cast their ballot this election, thanks to new polling locations and precinct boundary changes announced this summer. Channing Kerners joins us live now from the Duval County Election Center in Jacksonville. Channing, tell us more.
So there are more than 600,000 registered voters in Duval County alone and 159 different polling places. Joining me right now is Jerry Holland, the supervisor of elections. So Jerry, of course, an incredibly busy evening for you, the entire staff here. Have you heard anything from voters today regarding any concerns with these new polling locations?
Well, obviously changing polling locations always become kind of confusing. We've had a lot of calls. Where do I need to vote today? Why is it changed? Those kind of questions. Also, people get confused. They go for early voting in a library. They think that's their place on election day, and we have to explain it's not.
And have you had any either complaints or concerns even from some of these polling locations? We know some storms were rolling in today. That can also cause a little bit of concern for voters and for people working today as well.
We had some challenges. We had an AC unit go out at a polling location. So as you know, as hot as it is, that made the precinct very warm. And then also we had electricity go out in Mandarin. So it affected about 3 of our polling locations for only about 15 minutes, but we were up and running during the whole time.
So nothing, though, that should impact like the results coming in tonight or anything like that, though?
No, not at all. Because the best thing, even when the power's out, our machines are on battery, so the voters keep voting and everything keeps going.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. We'll check back in with you a little bit later on tonight. Reporting here from the Duval County Election Center on the north side, Channing Curtis, First Coast News, on your side.
Channing, thank you. U.S. Senator Ashley Moody is one of the Republican candidates running for U.S. Senate. She faces 3 Republican primary challengers in her bid to finish out the term. Moody was appointed in 2025 to fill the seat vacated by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. President Trump has also endorsed her.
State Representative Angie Nixon is running for the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. She is up against one other candidate. Nixon was born and raised in Jacksonville's Moncrief neighborhood. She is running on a progressive platform calling for affordable housing and Medicare for all.
And going up against Nixon is retired Lieutenant Colonel Alex Vindman. Vindman was fired from the Trump administration's National Security Council back in 2020 after he testified in Trump's first impeachment trial. He has since broken away from the Republican Party and is running on an anti-corruption platform. We have crews at Nixon and Moody's watch parties, and we will give you a live update on First Coast News Plus in just under 30 minutes.
And also tonight, we have live team coverage. Our teams scattered out all across the state covering the biggest races. We are tracking the decisions that will shape Florida's future in South Florida, the Gulf Coast, Central Florida, and all across the First Coast, so we have you covered.
Our live coverage of the Florida primary election continues all night. Join us on First Coast News from 7 to 8. Then First Coast News Plus for live results and analysis all evening until 11 p.m. Then a wrap up of the results on First Coast News at 11. And remember, you can get the results anytime on firstcoastnews.com. Other news we're following tonight at 6, our coverage of the trial for one of the people accused in the murder of Jared Bridegan.
Mario Fernandez Saldana is facing first-degree murder and solicitation charges. Today, jurors heard from the law enforcement officers who investigated this case.
Our investigative reporter, Riley Phillips, is joining us live tonight from the courthouse. And Riley, the lead detective was questioned for several hours today.
Yes, we heard hours of testimony from Detective Chris Johns, the lead investigator in this case. He broke down how they developed their case around Mario Fernandez Saldana, and we also watched an interview between detectives and Fernandez. 2 Jacksonville Beach police detectives took the stand Tuesday, with prosecutors bringing out evidence for the jurors, including the tire that was placed in the middle of the road the night Jared Bridegan was killed. Lead detective Chris Johns says they quickly ruled out that this was a random act of violence.
Usually when someone is murdered, there is a reason. It is due to a conflict that they have in their life. So we tried to learn everything we could about Jared Bridegan.
He says they pulled Bridegan's phone and financial records, but nothing raised any red flags, except for the relationship with ex-wife Shanna Gardner and her now estranged husband, Mario Fernandez Saldana. Detective John says they interviewed Fernandez on March 1st, 2022, nearly 2 weeks after the murder. Prosecutors played the hour-long recording of that interview for the jurors. Fernandez talked about his relationship with Bridegan.
If you look at like our emails, our text messages, our exchanges, it's very, to me, it's just pestering. It's very annoying. I don't like that.
Fernandez said Bridegan would rarely acknowledge him, and most of the communication was done over text messages. He mentioned several examples of tense interactions involving medicine for their son or their daughter's baptism. He said one of the last issues they argued about was the children's therapist, and that prompted Gardner and Fernandez to seek out a social investigation to ultimately change their custody agreement.
Because it wasn't amicable and because of how they're being with the kids, we were more or less fighting for the kids to have a chance and for Shanna to have majority decision making. And if she could have more timeshare on her, and if it was like 60-40 or whatever, if we could bend it just enough, it'd be great because the kids would be better off.
Detectives asked Fernandez what he thinks happened to Bridegan. Fernandez said he knew of other people who did not like Bridegan and doesn't understand why he got out of the car the night he was killed.
I don't know enough about the guy to know what he's involved in or what he could have been involved in.
And while the interview was playing, some of Bridegan's family members and his widow, Kirsten, were shaking their heads, reacting to some of the things Fernandez was saying in that interview. The defense did not get a chance to cross-examine the detective today, so they will begin with that tomorrow morning. Live inside the courthouse, Riley Phillips, First Coast News on your side.
Hey, you can watch live coverage of the murder trial from gavel to gavel on our website. Go to firstcoastnews.com/watch for live trial coverage.
Got our eyes on a severe thunderstorm warning till 6:15, so a few more minutes left. We'll see if this gets extended, but Bradford, Clay, Union counties in this right now. Strong storms out there. We'll track the rest of the evening for us and the 7-day forecast, so stay there.